Hi and welcome to a special episode of SWITCHCast, a podcast delving into the world of film brought to you by the team at Switch. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Charlie David Page.
I'm Jess Fenton.
I'm Ashley Teresa. And I'm Lily Meek.
It's Thursday the 19th of December 2019.
On today's show, we're celebrating the most wonderful time of the year. No, it's not Christmas, it's Boxing Day film releases. Woo! We'll be reviewing every single movie hitting cinemas on the biggest day of the Australian film calendar.
That's right. The Switch team will be sharing their verdicts on Jojo Rabbit, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Jumanji The Next Level, Cats, Sorry We Missed You, and The Truth, so you'll know what to see and what to skip.
Plus, the controversies at the SAG and Golden Globe Awards, and the one thing about Disney Plus that's gotten the streaming service into hot water.
And as always, all our giveaways and film recommendations.
But before we get started, a quick PSA from the Switch team. We do what we do for the love of movies. We don't have any advertising on the website, so you can focus on what's important. Our film reviews. So we rely on support from people like you to keep Switch running. The good news is if you become a member, you can score yourself a bunch of free stuff and access exclusive content. So head on over to patreon.com/MakeTheSwitchAU to find out how you can help us and access our exclusive competitions for supporters.
Alrighty, let's get straight into it with Jojo Rabbit, the latest film from Taika Waititi. Jess checked out this World War II satire, so does this comedy go off with a bang?
Being young is hard. You're influenced by the wrong things, the right things, and what's worse, you're unable to tell the difference between the two. For 10-year-old wannabe Nazi Jojo, it's his dream to serve his Führer, so much so that Adolf Hitler just happens to be his best friend. His imaginary best friend. But when Jojo discovers Elsa, a 17-year-old Jew living in his wall, while outside the German armies are losing and the end of the war is inevitable, everything Jojo thought he knew is now askew. Black is white, up is down, and Jews are beautiful and without horns and mind control powers.
Today you boys will be involved in such activities as war games, ambush techniques, and blowing stuff up.
I don't think I can do this.
Of course you can. When I was your age, I had an imaginary friend. Got me in so much trouble.
Kids, it's time to burn some books!
Did you know Jews can read each other's minds?
But how would you know if you saw one? They could look just like us.
Hi. You know what I am?
Say it.
A Jew. Gesundheit.
From Kiwi filmmaker Taika Waititi, who also brought us Hunt for the Wilder People, What We Do in the Shadows, and Thor Ragnarok, comes Jojo Rabbit, the brilliantly funny, heartwarming, and deeply satirical film inspiring hope, starring a most fabulous and disgustingly gifted cast of young actors, Academy Award winner Sam Rockwell, Aussie favourite Rebel Wilson, and one of Scarlett Johansson's finest performances in the last 2 weeks. I'm giving it 5 stars.
It was brilliant to watch this film, although I am biased because I am massively a Taika Waititi fan.
Preach.
I was discussing this with someone today. The really nice thing he manages to do is make sad things funny.
Yeah.
He did it with Boy as well about familial issues. And I think one thing is whilst we're laughing, we're also wondering why. And that's the kind of punch part of his film. So yeah, you're sitting there and yes, it's so fabulously funny. And, you know, he makes light of the Holocaust as part of the satirical tone of the film. But then at the same time, it packs a punch where it makes you think in some elements, which I think is the greatest power of the film.
Yeah, almost all his films contain in some way or another grief. And he does manage to turn that incredibly sad moment in any person's life so hysterically funny, but not so much that you feel guilty about it. You're actually relieved to have a laugh at something that's so horrible. And I mentioned this in my online review as well. He directs children so perfectly and beautifully, and he manages to inspire these incredible performances. And I'm sure a lot of it has to go with his casting directors and his ability to cherry pick these incredible children. The star of this film is a complete unknown. This is his first film, you know, and he also brought us Gillian Dennison in Hunt for the Wilder People. And he is such a brilliant director, but he has this incredible gift for directing children. And I think it's because if anyone's seen him on social media or an interview with him, he's so childlike himself. And I think he connects with them that way because he's just Oh, I cannot get over how talented this man is. Like every time someone mentions his name, I get so excited. I will literally see him do anything except The Mandalorian because I don't give a crap about Star Wars. But, that aside.
And the screenwriting was just so tight. Like there were all the circles of the plot were just outstanding, from like fine details to just humor landing where it needed to land, to also sad beats getting to sit there so we could think about them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in that film was just nailed, from things needing to be where they needed to be for us to understand elements, contextual elements, historical elements, humor, wit, all of it. And I think the really nice thing as well is he's managed to entwine Kiwi tone and humor into it as well, which going into America is a really big thing.
Jess, so quickly, there might be some, say, controversial aspects to this film. Is there anything that kind of feels like it steps over the line at all?
No, that's what's so perfect about this film. And yes, a lot of people might be sitting there going, oh my God, it's funny, it's World War II, it's Holocaust. And Taika himself plays Jojo's imaginary Adolf Hitler. Yeah. But you also have to understand it's all coming from a good place. Taika himself is Jewish. Yes, he's Maori. Yes, he's Kiwi. Yes, he is actually Jewish. That's an interesting fact. He is Jewish himself. So it's all coming from a good place. It's all coming from a comedic place. I know we live in a time where comedy is these days seen a little bit controversial. I think it needs to be untouched. I think when it comes to a joke, when it comes to a comedian or anything comedic, if it's coming from the right place, it sort of needs to be left alone when it comes to this sort of censorship. Having said that, none of this, I didn't feel that any of this was controversial at all. It's so hard to explain just Waititi's just incredible knack for lightening the dark moments in life. But this film, I like I said, I gave it 5 stars. This film is perfect in my eyes. Yeah. With that in mind, Jojo Rabbit is in cinemas on Boxing Day, and check out my full review at maketheswitch.com.au.
Also hitting cinemas is Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Daniel checked out this picture-perfect film at the Melbourne International Film Festival and filed this review for SWITCHCast.
In 18th century France, artist Marianne, played by Noémie Merlan, is given the unusual commission of painting a portrait of Heloise, played by Adèle Haenel, but without her subject's awareness of the task. To do this, Marianne poses as Heloise's new walking companion. But soon the relationship of artist and unsuspecting muse blossoms into something far richer and far more passionate. From beloved French director Céline Sciamma, Portrait of a Lady on Fire is one of the truly great films of our time, one that almost defies description. It is a feast for the senses and for the heart, built around one of the most exquisitely constructed romances in cinema history. Its passion is deep, its artistry is staggering, its power is breathtaking. Both Merlan and Haenel are exquisite, and the cinematography from Claire Mathon has to be seen to be believed. The depths of a woman's heart are impossible to chart, and the world through their eyes in love is a wonder. Céline Sciamma has delivered a miracle of a film. It left me breathless, speechless, sobbing, and in awe. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is easily one of the best films of the year. 5 stars.
To say that Portrait of a Lady on Fire defies any kind of description is so appropriate, because coming out of that film, my eyes were wet, I could not speak, and it really is truly one of the best films of the year.
2 5-star films in a row. I think our audience is spoilt for choice this Boxing Day.
It's a fantastic Boxing Day, hey?
Yeah. But can I also just say, a job as a walking companion, does this career still exist, and can I have it? Like, is that really a thing?
Please email contact@maketheswitch.com.au if you know the answer to this, but I suspect it's not. Okay, but seriously, if you've seen the trailer for this, obviously it's a really beautiful and emotive trailer, but it doesn't really give away much of the story. I mean, Ashley, does the trailer actually capture the same tone as the film actually gives off?
Well, it's funny that you ask that, because going into this film, I had wanted to leave as little scene as absolutely possible. Unfortunately,
and fair enough.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did actually see a trailer prior to my going in, and although it did give away a few plot points, I still felt more intrigued than ever, more excited than ever to go into this film, and ultimately it didn't derail my experience at all, having some sort of idea as to what I was getting into. A few of the shots in the trailer are absolutely exquisite, and to see them in the context of the film makes it even more special, but it's not to the point where the best moments are ruined in the trailer, as is a common theme in today's trailer sphere.
And I guess it's probably also important to touch on the fact that this is one of many recent great LGBT plus films that we've had hitting cinemas. I guess it's been a real fantastic smorgasbord of variety that we've actually had on offer, and it's great to see a kind of female-oriented version of that now.
It really is. And it never really plays into any exploitative aspects of their romance. It really just feels like this is a romance that's speaking to universal themes of remembering someone and how a romance impacts you. It just so happens to be between two women.
Well, that's beautiful. And you can also find Daniel's full review at maketheswitch.com.au, and make sure you check out Portrait of a Lady on Fire when it hits the big screen on Boxing Day. Also heading to cinemas is Jumanji: The Next Level. Lily grabbed the controllers and jumped headfirst into this sequel. So is this follow-up a one-shot kill, or is it game over for the franchise?
Jumanji: The Next Level focuses on the original team and Spencer's grandfather, Danny DeVito, and his friend Milo, Danny Glover, getting sucked back into the game after realizing Spencer is missing. The film plays with the humor of two elderly patrons playing in a video game. Much in the theme of the last one, the team must complete a quest in order to return home.
We have to find Spencer and Bethany.
This next adventure is even more challenging. This time, not all of you will leave the game alive.
Bethany thought you might need some help. Where is Bethany? She's right here.
She says, "Oh my God," like I'm a total horse.
Yep, that's Bethany.
Hey!
This movie plays to its purpose, which is to entertain and have fun. New characters offer a fresh storyline without straying from the film's original framework. What was a little disappointing was the laziness of the writing. At times the story lost momentum and the narrative was put on hold for unnecessary jokes. What was fun in the first Jumanji was the suspense created by unpredictable and motivated deaths. Jumanji Next Level had too many irrelevant deaths and game clues that were far too loosely tied in. Altogether, the film is entertaining, fun, and slightly predictable. It wasn't as good as the first, but did well as a sequel. I give it 2.5 stars.
100% agree with everything Lily just said. We actually saw it together, didn't we, Lils?
Hey, I was there too.
Were you? I don't recall
and so
that.
was Chris. It was a great Switch reunion. 4/9 of Switch getting together for one special film.
Yes, it was. Having said that, yeah, Lily was right. It was slow. There was too much fluff in it. And one of the things is a lot of the comedy in this film is derived from Danny DeVito and Danny Glover's characters being old and not understanding video games and et cetera, et cetera. And once they enter the game, that carries on. So the humor comes from them being annoying to the other characters in the film. The problem is that joke gets old really quickly and then they start being annoying to the audience.
Whoa, Jess. Now hold on a second. Resident naysayer on the podcast.
Come at me.
Having also seen this, maybe that joke does get used a bit repetitiously and maybe it does get a bit old by the end, but what is fantastic about this was with the first film is actually seeing people like Jack Black and Kevin Hart and Karen Gillan, Dwayne Johnson going in and getting to do all these crazy characters. And actually, one of the best things that happens is that Awkwafina, who is the new character in this part of the franchise, is playing as if she's actually being controlled by Danny DeVito, and it is freaking hilarious. I think it's great.
Awkwafina pretending to be Danny DeVito is the one thing I never knew I needed in life. So if nothing else, I'm grateful for this sequel just for that, because I was in fits.
I think it's a great, entertaining, no-brain, fun, enjoyable film. You're going to go in, you're going to laugh, you're going to come out, and you're going to forget about it entirely. But it's a really great way to spend like 2 hours of your time.
I liked it as like a family adventure movie because I think we're always going to need those movies. You know, you got to take your nan somewhere or your family. But I just felt like the game elements of Jumanji weren't focused on a lot. So their challenges, what they needed to overcome, it was like the writers kind of slapped in a few God moments there where they were like, we're just going to make this happen and that can go on. There was no real kind of explanation or clues that really made sense. It was all a little bit hullabaloo.
It was a bit exposition-less.
We're just going to stick this in here. But you can find my full review at maketheswitch.com.au, and Jumanji: The Next Level is in cinemas from Boxing Day.
You can also catch Cats on the big screen, the much talked about adaptation of the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical by Tom Hooper. So, is it the cat's meow, or does it deserve to end up in the kitty litter box? Chris hit the red carpet at the Sydney launch screening and filed this review for SWITCHCast.
When Veronica is thrown out by her owner, she is whisked away by a tribe of cats called the Jellicles. They are making the Jellicle choice to decide who will come back to a new life.
Tonight is a magical night, where I choose the cat that deserves a new life.
Going to the ball could get dangerous.
Come on! Let's dance!
I judge a cat by its soul.
I've got plenty of soul.
Here we go!
Simply put, Tom Hooper's Cats fails. It fails as an event movie, a musical, and an adaptation. We can sit here and make fun of the CGI, but as it is, the film is just so boring. There's not an interesting song, dance number, character, or frame. Cats is billing itself on its big cast, and surprise, surprise, they are all wasted. Idris Elba is trying the hardest, but it's just pointless with the material. Judi Dench is sleepwalking her way through. Although Ian McKellen is the only one trying to be a cat, it is still weird, and Taylor Swift's appearance just seems like a way to get her fans to watch. Tom Hooper is a terrible director of musicals. He lacks a creative bone in his body, with every dance number stilted and static. I'll just wait until In the Heights comes out to enjoy a Hollywood musical. 1.5 stars.
Okay, so just to be clear, none of us on this podcast have seen Cats yet. Am I correct?
Correct. Nor will I ever.
Well, based off that then, how about we give our thoughts from what we saw from the trailer? Because what I saw was something horrifying and blasphemic. I don't know about you guys.
Yes.
The much discussed effects that go on in that trailer.
The effects like Taylor Swift's in a possibly high bosom, cat bosom. Like she's choking on them. I don't. That was my takeaway from the trailer. Like I don't understand. They're so hard.
Brings a whole new meaning to catnip.
To be clear, oh my god,
you weren't there. Seriously, there's not enough money in the world to get me to see this horrifying looking film. I've learned in my adulthood that I really hate Andrew Lloyd Webber and
Phantom of the Opera.
And I don't like Phantom of the Opera.
What?
I know. You and I have seen it together too.
I know.
Yeah, but I saw Cats as an adult. I had no idea what it was going in. It was the longest 127 hours
Jess.
of my life. Exactly. There is no plot. It's literally just cats singing.
Human-sized cats,
with no purpose. It's like it's based on poetry. I don't understand. It's the worst story ever. Anyway,
I do just want to say that even though the design of these is absolutely horrifying, that's not the result of the visual effects artists. They've done pretty great work managing to make it look, somewhat detailed. It's just the design of these characters looks awful. I mean, if you're going to have the ability to make cats look like cats, why not make them look like cats? I get it's different and harder to make a human look like a cat on stage, but if you have the opportunity and the means to make them actual cats, why not make them actual cats?
Maybe they needed to talk to Disney about that.
Oh, no.
Because they've got to dance and stuff. You can't have actual cats. That would have looked weird.
You know what? It would have been a perfect opportunity for them to show Disney how to do animated animals right. Because The Lion King is also horrifying, but that's going too far the other way. It looks too photorealistic, whereas Cats is the other way where it just looks awful. I'm sure we can find a beautiful middle ground, but just no one's found it yet.
I guess the other element to this is also bringing in Tom Hooper. This is not the first time he's directed a musical screen adaptation. There are some people who would say that Les Mis was not necessarily the best production and that maybe this should never have happened. Their name may be Daniel, if you're familiar with Daniel's feelings on Tom Hooper. If not, it's a non-secretive loathing. It does give you a good idea of what this may be like. But you can make the decision to catch Cats for yourself on the big screen from Boxing Day. And be sure to check out Chris's full review at maketheswitch.com.au. Also hitting cinemas is Sorry We Missed You. Jake sought out Ken Loach's latest work and filed this unapologetic review for SWITCHCast.
Since the global financial crisis, there's been a significant increase in the amount of contract, temporary, and freelance work, dubbed the gig economy. Ken Loach's new film, Sorry We Missed You, is an attack on this phenomenon, as well as a moving drama about a loving family under siege. Set in the depressed city of Newcastle in England's northeast, the film follows Abby, a carer, and her husband Ricky, who has gotten himself a van the family can't really afford, and is soon on a grueling treadmill of 14-hour days, speeding to meet delivery targets, a plastic bottle on hand so he can take a piss without losing time or incurring a fine. The goal is to save up enough money to buy their own house and stop renting, but Ricky fails to see the reality. No contract, no job security, no benefits, all the risk.
You name it, I've done it. Concreting, plumbing.
Is that you too?
I've done it all. There's always someone on your back, isn't there?
Come on, we've got time to make up, let's go.
I'd rather work on my own now. Be my own boss.
This decides who lives and who dies.
It's my night with my family, so no, I'm not doing it. And I'm telling you now, nobody messes with my family.
Thanks for the great day.
Master of your own destiny, Ricky. You up for that?
Yeah.
While there is some humour, it's in 83-year-old Ken Loach's quiet observation of an exhausted couple of working parents and their 2 kids that Sorry We Missed You becomes heartrending. A film about family dynamics and what we sacrifice as a society for the convenience of next-day home deliveries. 4 stars. You can find my review at maketheswitch.com.au. Sorry We Missed You is in Australian cinemas from Boxing Day.
Oh, I've missed that voice.
Yes, a massive thanks to Jake for that review. Also hitting cinemas is The Truth. Ashley investigated this family feud, but can we handle it?
The relationship between art and family has been studied extensively over films in recent years, and Hirokazu Koreeda's latest film, The Truth, is another entry into the canon. Starring French cinematic icon Catherine Deneuve as Fabienne, The Truth centres on the conflict her newly released memoirs cause with her daughter Lumiere, played by Juliette Binoche. It seems that these memoirs are missing vital moments and truths from what Lumiere remembers as a tumultuous upbringing, with her mother so absorbed in her art and career. Ethan Hawke also stars as Binoche's husband, a television actor failing upwards. It's a real shame that with so much talent both in front and behind the camera, The Truth just feels so bland. The subject matter is compelling, it's shot and acted well, but there's no new ideas here, and ultimately it goes down in such a way that leaves the audiences unmoved and unimpressed. I'm grateful for the opportunity to see these 3 actors on screen with each other, but The Truth left me wishing that the material that brought them there was a bit more compelling. 2.5 stars.
So I haven't actually seen The Truth, but I did have a disappointing experience earlier this year because I watched Catherine Deneuve in Claire Darling. And similar sort of thing, it tracked like her memoirs and old age and what that meant to her, and her daughter came, and it was about her relationship with her daughter and going through the remnants of their house and whatnot. But it was just so boring. And the plot, one minute we're going through this poor lady's artwork, and then next minute we're in a random French fair while she's playing on bumper cars. And there's a priest performing an exorcism, and there were just no answers anywhere, and just a random assortment of events.
I really don't know what quite has gone wrong here, because it's there and it's interesting. It's just presented in such a manner that I just sat there not being moved by anything. I really don't think it was the direction, because Koreeda is an incredible director. He directed Shoplifters last year that won the Palme d'Or, which is incredible.
Fantastic, yeah.
A fantastic movie, and also about family and those values. But I think maybe this is his first non-Japanese film. It's his first film in another language, and it's also French. And I don't know if his cinematic language translates well to French. That's really the only thing that I can think of that may be causing this lack of popping off the screen. But it's just a real shame, because I was going in super excited for it. I hadn't really heard much about it, which maybe should have been my warning. But the cast is great. There's interesting content here, and Deneuve is fantastic. It just didn't feel like anything was happening here that I was ever going to remember or want to recommend for someone.
You also mentioned in your online review that a lot of the cast gets underutilized and just kind of gets pushed aside. And I mean, that's probably a scripting problem, but it seems like such a waste of great talent here.
Yeah, and I understand giving Deneuve her spotlight is probably the biggest thing here because it's her story, but I feel like to cast Juliette Binoche with Catherine Deneuve together, it just feels like there should be fireworks and explosions. Like, they're two really beloved French actresses, and this is the first time that they've ever worked together. I just wish that there was something a little bit more for them, maybe a big argument or something. They do have a few scenes where they do butt heads a little bit, but it never really amounts to anything beyond just dishing old dirt. I really wanted there to be a whole heap of gossip and juicy scandals here, but it really came down to just jealousy and self-obsession, which didn't really do much for me.
Shame.
The Truth is in cinemas from Boxing Day, and check out my full review at maketheswitch.com.au.
As 2019 comes to an end, it means one very exciting thing. Awards season is just around the corner. But along with it comes controversies and problems. The Golden Globe nominations inspired a lot of confused looks, especially for the lack of females in the directing category for the second year in a row. Ladies, go.
Now, this is a really interesting topic because even beyond just discussing females in film, this year has been such a loaded year for female directors. I mean, we've had Greta Gerwig direct Little Women, we've had Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Booksmart, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Hustlers, Honey Boy, and also The Farewell, all racking up major attention, major awards buzz, and yet they're just not here. What happened?
And they're just the good ones. There's a lot of bad female-directed films too. That's just the good ones.
Sorry, Elizabeth Banks. Oops. But here's my question. Here's my question, though. I don't want to see a woman in this category, just for argument's sake and play lip service. What they're competing against here is Tarantino, Scorsese, Ho, Phillips, and Mendes. So my question is, if you could, who would you replace in the directing category at the Golden Globes?
Todd Phillips for Joker needs to go. Needs to go.
Very cool.
And replaced with?
Probably Lulu Wang for The Farewell, to be honest. I mean, I'm not as enamored with The Farewell as everyone else is, but it's such a stunning film, and it's obviously a very personal story. It's based on a true story about her own grandma. And I'm actually coming from someone who liked Joker. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, but I like it and I can appreciate it for what it is. But I feel like it's almost insulting for him to get a Golden Globe nomination when he's basically ripping off every good Martin Scorsese picture. I mean, obviously, imitation is the highest form of flattery, but why not just honor the person who's doing the good work in the first place and inspiring everyone else and put someone else in there that actually deserves to be there? No offense, Todd Phillips.
But here's the thing as well, is the executive is mainly made up of old males. And I think what I struggle with is we have themes in these films that resonate with women, and they're not obviously going to resonate with the board for different reasons. And that's where I get a little bit stuck, is women film directors, I think, are always going to be on the back burner a little bit for people, whether they do good work or they don't.
Also on the awards front, critical darling Parasite got a nod at the SAG Awards for Best Ensemble Cast. Yay!
Excellent.
Which is the first time an international film has entered the category in 21 years. The last time being for Life is Beautiful. So with that, what do we think? Is it just the SAGs not recognizing international films, or international films getting better and therefore they're getting more recognition? How are we feeling?
Well, let's start by addressing the most important thing. I just this week actually finally got around to seeing Parasite. I know I'm terrible. I'm a bad person.
That's a bad Charlie.
But, I mean, you've got to watch this film and just absolutely fall in love with this cast, because
it is remarkable.
Just gel so well together. Yeah. And what has been compiled onto screen, I mean, both the family themselves as well as the Park family who they're working for they're superb, and they just have so much fun. But La Vida è Bella, Life is Beautiful is one of those films which, it was fantastic and internationally recognized for what it is, but I struggle to believe there has not been another international film in that time period, 21 years, that doesn't also deserve that recognition, even for a nomination.
I know, and it's actually, although I hope it never happens again, it is kind of exciting to me to think that, pray tell, if this does ever happen again in 21 years' time, we're going to be talking about Parasite like the masterpiece it is, and seeing it hopefully lead the way for many other foreign films to be recognised and awarded, because I do think it's coming from an ignorance thing, but it would be really nice if Parasite's the one that really opens up the door for other amazing foreign films to be recognised, not just in ensemble and acting, but across the board.
Yeah, I think it's about time that we started giving recognition to films worldwide. It shouldn't be something that's necessarily growing from Hollywood that makes it good or the best. You know, it shouldn't be categorized like that. We should be, at this point, having a much more open and welcoming view of international cinema. It's no longer just art house films, that's for sure. Yeah, that's true.
One of the most exciting things to happen on the entertainment front in 2019 is the launch of Disney+. The new streaming service is packed with film and TV, old and new, but Disney has copped a bit of flack after it was discovered certain unsavoury parts of movies have been removed. But should distributors be allowed to rewrite history?
Absolutely not. This is censorship. 100%, no question about it. This is censorship. I realize we live in very tricky times at the moment, and especially when it comes to Disney+, we're looking at an audience of children. And Disney don't want to admit that they made mistakes in the past or in the future or in the present. And that they once had these, at the time, these jokes, the one that comes to my mind is one of the, fake bloopers at the end of Toy Story 2, where Stinky Pete is basically casting couch a couple of Barbies. And, at the time that was supposed to be purely comedic, and now with eyes of 2019, not so much. But yeah, you cannot erase the past. You cannot rewrite history, and you cannot censor yourselves. Yes, these things are going to be watched by children, and they're going to see them and possibly grow up thinking that these things are normal. But that's where we have to come in today and say, yes, you saw this joke, and yes, but today it's not right, and, grow up learning the right things, and, knowing that 30-second bit at the end of Toy Story 2 was just that, a bit that was done, 10, 15 years ago.
Because wouldn't it be wonderful if parents actually parented and sat down with kids and said, well, this is what used to be the case, and that's not appropriate because of this? Wouldn't that be an interesting way to look at this?
And the weird part is it's rewriting history, like it's cancel culture. We grew up looking at that, and I kind of want that to be translated to, my kids and the next generation. I want to be able to pass on what I saw and have that go on, not say, oh, Disney actually pulled this out and so now it doesn't exist.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of like them going through particular films, which seems to be the trend at the moment, and like erasing cigarettes from every single, frame by frame. I mean, will it really make people take up smoking if they're seeing cigarettes smoked on screen? I mean, potentially it's an influence, but most unlikely. I think it's the same here, You see something on screen that's racially inappropriate or sexist. If you've been educated properly, you're not going to say, oh, well, okay, that's the norm then. You're going to say, oh, no, that doesn't sit well with me. No, that doesn't feel right.
Oh, I don't know, Charlie. I was 6 and decided that I was going to be a chain smoker because, Cruella de Vil wouldn't stop.
You must kill a lot of dogs too then.
Yeah. What also concerns me about this is the fact that Disney have pretty much dominated the Cineplex at the moment. They are constantly edging out other competition by buying more screens. They would rather put anything else in another cinema if it meant that Universal or Sony or anyone else was using that screen to screen their films. So I feel like if Disney is so intent on controlling the future of cinema, it's even more concerning that they're going back and retroactively changing the past.
They want to control every element of it, it's a little bit scary. That's what we talk about, a global monopoly. That's a definition of it.
The thing is, children are sponges. In order to learn what's right, they need to learn what was once wrong. And if you take away their ability to learn what was once wrong, they're never going to learn what's right.
Well said, Jess.
Thank you.
Well, on the plus side, see what I did there? We have some great giveaways up for grabs this week. First up, we're giving away 5 family passes to see Jumanji: The Next Level in cinemas. The gang is back, but the game has changed as they return to Jumanji to rescue one of their own. They discover that nothing is as they expect. The players will have to brave parts unknown and unexplored, from the arid deserts to the snowy mountains, in order to escape the world's most dangerous game.
We also have 5 double passes to see The Truth. After the global success of the Cannes Palm Jewel winning Shoplifters, master auteur Korida Hirokazu's wry and charming new dramedy The Truth pairs French screen icons Catherine Deneuve and Juliette Binoche for the first time as a celebrated actress and her estranged daughter, who reunite in Paris upon the release of the former's memoirs. When the star's long-suffering assistant unexpectedly quits, the two are forced into an awkward working relationship where suppressed emotions can no longer be kept in check.
We're also giving away 5 double passes to catch Sorry We Missed You in cinemas. From legendary director Ken Loach, the film tells the story of Ricky and his family who have been fighting an uphill struggle against debt since the 2008 financial crash. An opportunity to wrestle back some independence appears with a shiny new van and the chance to run a franchise as a self-employed delivery driver. It's hard work, and his wife's job as a carer is no easier. The family unit is strong, but when both are pulled in different directions, everything comes to breaking point.
And last but not least, we're giving away 5 Blu-ray copies of Abominable.
It's better than Abdominal.
Abdominal. Ab Cruncher Pro 2000.
This isn't an infomercial.
We're giving away 5 Blu-ray copies of Abominable. Yay!
Oh.
When teenage Yi encounters a young Yeti on the roof of her apartment building in Shanghai, she and her mischievous friends name him Everest and embark on an epic quest to reunite the magical creature with his family at the highest point on Earth. To enter this and all of our fantastic giveaways, head to maketheswitch.com.au/comps now.
And before we go, we'd like to offer you some cinematic inspiration, with each of us suggesting one film that you should see this week and why. For me, it's a little film from 2018. It was something that came out towards the end of the year, and I felt it got swept under the carpet. It has Melissa McCarthy in a role which I am very much in a love-hate relationship with Melissa McCarthy, but this is, I think, her greatest role of all time. It also has
I think I know what this is.
Yes, it also has a really awesome performance from Richard E. Grant. It is based on a true story, which, I mean, couldn't be crazier if you tried to dream it up yourself. It is Can You Ever Forgive Me? And honestly, I cannot believe that Melissa McCarthy made it through this year's awards season without much, much more accolade than she got, because
she got an Oscar nomination, didn't she?
I know, but she that's literally about it. And the film itself is absolutely fantastic. I think she deserved much, much more recognition than she got for it. But look, I really, really love Can You Ever Forgive Me? And if you haven't seen it, I really implore you to check it out.
It's also fascinating to think that Melissa's role was originally supposed to be played by Julianne Moore, and then she got fired from the role. And obviously these two actresses, while both fantastic, are so opposite from one another.
Yes.
Yeah, how the hell does Melissa McCarthy manage to steal a role? Not so much steal, but take a role from Julianne Moore. It would have been a very different film. But Melissa did get it, obviously, in the end, and she did an incredible job. And again, the story is, you can't make this shit up.
Well, that's good that you agree, Jess. And now it is your turn to give us your film. What would it be?
I'm staying on message here with my, Jojo Rabbit review from earlier. So this film came out this year, and it was a documentary that was played at the Jewish International Film Festival. It is about an actor who has sadly passed. You grow up loving actors and actresses, to certain degrees, but this is about a certain actor that actually had a massive impact on me when he passed, because it was so tragic and so unnecessary. And one of the most incredible things about this documentary is that actresses Kristen Stewart and Jennifer Lawrence actually credit him with turning them into the actors they are today, which is an incredible accolade. It's called Love and Tosha, and it is about the dearly departed actor Anton Yelchin. It was created with his parents, and I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, actually. I know that Ashley saw it as well. The depths of this man's talent and passion for the arts is unparalleled, and you truly discover how talented he was and how deep it goes. And it's also amazing seeing people like J.J. Abrams and Chris Evans and Zachary Quinto talk about the impact he had on their lives, and you genuinely see them get angry at the camera and, just life and the circumstances in general when they talk about his passing. It is an incredibly emotional film. It is also so inspiring and just beautiful and so full of love. And if anyone can track it down, I believe it's on iTunes and YouTube for now. It's called Love and Tosha.
A really good recommendation there, a great actor and a great tribute to that actor. So, Ashley, this is your first time giving a film recommendation, so this should be very interesting. What have you got in store for us?
Yeah, I'm super, super emotional from Jess's recommendation just then, so I'm going to try my best to get through this. I'm going to go with a really straightforward recommendation, but it's a worthy one. So this film just came out last week on Netflix. It's by a director who I don't necessarily love, but with this film, he has fully redeemed himself in my eyes. It stars two amazing lead performances who, if one of them literally does not get nominated for an Oscar or does not win, I'm going to tear my hair out. It's a really interesting take on something that has been documented throughout film, but I don't think it's been done in this way before. And even though I am not actually a child of divorce or have never seen anyone go through a divorce, it really hit me in a place where I'm surprised that it did, and I'm recommending Marriage Story to everyone. If you haven't already seen it, please go and see it. It's incredible. You can watch it in your living room. It's on your Netflix. You have no excuse. It's phenomenal, and I'm so lucky that I got to review it because as soon as I got out, I'm like, I have so many thoughts about this. I need to get them all down. And I did cry a little bit actually writing my review too, because there's just so much detail and so much life in this film. Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver make their characters fully lived in, and it's just, I've seen it twice since my initial screening, and every time I just love it more and more and more, and it's just creeping its way up my top of the year list, and I couldn't be happier because it's such a stunning film. Randy Newman's score is phenomenal. At first, my first screening, it didn't really pop out to me, and then second and third, it's just there, and it needs it. So go see Marriage Story.
And of course, you can check out Ashley's review at maketheswitch.com.au. You should definitely hunt that down because it's a great read. Now, Lily, you are last but not least, and it's also your first turn up on the film recommendation podium. So, what have you got for us?
Save the best for last, am I right?
Always.
I'm doing mine on my first ever 5-star review, and I had the lucky chance to watch it around 2 weeks ago now. She's a darling heart of American TV, a live talk show host on all issues to do with sex. She is a survivor of the Holocaust, a trained sniper, and America's greatest sex therapist. It's Ask Dr. Ruth. She is the most wonderful woman on screen I've ever had the pleasure to watch. She is emotive, she's funny, she's quirky, she's outrageous, she's enthusiastic about sex. Everything to do with this film was just spectacular, from documenting her past, from her Holocaust journey, surviving through that, then going to Israel, how she dealt with her family, finding out that they were missing. The documentary takes you through her discovery of her finding out her parents went to Auschwitz, documents her 90th birthday, and it charters her film career from meeting Robin Williams, from doing, 30 years of TV, from what she's doing now. She's 90 and she's still not retired. She's going out there and talking about it on radio shows and everything. It talks about her positive outlook on HIV and how her Jewish history connected her with LGBT community in the 80s, because she just felt like she knew what it was like to be dehumanized. And it's just such a fabulous, emotive story.
Oh, fantastic recommendation. It's one I've really been wanting to check out. And again, you can check out Lily's review at maketheswitch.com.au. And if you're really lucky, you might just still be able to find it in cinemas. So yeah, go hunt it down. And all around, some fantastic suggestions there. You can find the links to all the articles that we've talked about on this week's podcast at maketheswitch.com.au. And please subscribe to us on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to rate us. You can also stay in touch on Twitter. I am at Charlie_David. Jess?
I'm at MissJess_Switch.
Lily?
At Lily Grace Meek.
And Ashley?
You can find me on Instagram at AshmattXX.
Like it? Follow it. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at MakeTheSwitchAU to stay up to date with all the latest reviews, news, trailers, and giveaways.
And you can find all the notes and links to everything we've discussed on this week's podcast as well as other episodes by visiting switchcast.com.au.
If you've enjoyed today's podcast and want to hear more from the Switch team, we'd really appreciate your support. We keep the site ad-free so you can focus on what's important, our film reviews. So, to keep SWITCHcast running and score some free stuff, head to patreon.com/maketheswitchau to find out how you can help.
And some great news. We'll be back for one more special episode next week as we dive into the best films from the past decade.
Plus, we'll be setting our sights on the future as we reveal our most anticipated films of 2020. Make sure you join us as the team pick their must-watch movies for the new year.
Thanks so much for listening. Have a great Christmas, and we'll see you next week.